Hello all, yes. So Celine Pasula from Fingersoft. Sorry. Oh, that's, I can take it from here. Yeah. Yes, sorry about that. Some problems. This wasn't the plan. I was actually starting today, but I want to tell you that in case I passed out today, it's because I was in a car accident today morning. But luckily I survived and all good here. But it was a taxi driver on my way here from the airport. So, but actually, let's go to the topic. So I started with Fingersoft around 7 months ago. It was last summer. And when I started, there was multiple people asking from me, like, why did I join the company? And it seemed that basically everybody had an opinion about it. Me joining a rally game company, and I don't personally even own a car, didn't kind of seem a good fit for me. But then I actually wanted to hear what people think about it, and I was listening to them. So what did people actually say? There was multiple things, and many people said that the Fingersoft has an amazing IP, of course, hill climb racing, which has been really highly successful. And then also, like, of course, that the game was made by Tony, who's the founder, and he did it alone, and it was basically overnight success. But then there was something really interesting also, what I heard. And someone said to me that Fingersoft is like amoeba. And that got me really thinking. I was thinking, like, because my background is a lot in biology. I was studying that before I joined the game industry. And it got me really thinking, like, what is the amoeba really? And this is actually the exact definition in medical terms. And that really kind of made me stop. I was thinking, like, if someone calls us that, it kind of tells a lot about that also, that it's something that changes all the time. And I was thinking, like, maybe that's what Fingersoft is. Like, maybe that's something that we want to be, that we want to change ourselves all the time, and actually to take our IP for the next level. We already have 1.4 billion downloads, and I was thinking, like, maybe there's some potential to actually take it that to next level. So what did I see then when I actually started? There was sorry. So yeah, it's a mobile gaming studio based in Finland. We have around 60 people. We have a pretty cool founder, Tony, and there was later people, of course, coming in, and at the moment we have 60 people. Then there is, of course, all the people who they are really passionate about what they are doing, and they love the games we have, and they want to make the new ones. And then, of course, the high IP we have. So hill climb racing, it has been a really great success, and it's a self-developed and self-published, and there's not so many games which has even close to 1.4 billion downloads, and I think there is still something that we can do about it. Just to give a comparison, there's 7.5 billion people on the planet. So if you think about that number, it's pretty great numbers to have. So actually, I came to the conclusion that we actually have a pretty great things, and if someone actually thinks that we are amoeba, maybe it's a good thing, being something that is able to change and do things differently. It could be our strength and not even our weakness, as I thought it. And if you think about the whole evolution, it's pretty amazing actually to be somewhere around here actually, and thinking that we could have still like 1 billion years to go ahead and actually change ourselves and think about it. Hopefully we don't end up being the dinosaurs, but trying to avoid that. So, what should we do then? Didn't evolution actually happen by itself? How can we actually grow from this? If you go back to the Charles Darwin's theory and think about what he actually said, so he said that it's not the strongest of the species that survive, not the fastest, but the most responsive to change. And if you think about the gaming industry today, the industry is changing around us rapidly. In a matter of decades, we have seen industry switching a lot. There has been premium games and still is, of course, but it's heavily moving to free-to-play games. And of course, performance marketing is a big thing to drive products to growth path. And of course, the consolidations are happening, and our competitors seems to get even bigger now and stronger than we are. How can we survive this? How can we actually change ourselves? And I see that our answer for that is to make Fingersoft into a company that can adapt to that competition and change, but also into a place that can attract the best talent. So what does it mean actually in today's world? We will not maybe be the biggest or the fastest, but we will be definitely the one who's willing to change and hungry for doing that. For that we will need two things, which we already of course have, but we will need to support those. We will need the great people. We do have them already, but we will need to hire more. And really the ones that are really hungry to learn, kind and friendly, humble, with the growth mindset, hopefully. We have those already, and I'm super proud of the people we have, but our challenge is to keep them growing and learning, and make them as adaptable as possible to changing environment. And then the culture. We need the right culture. I personally believe more in a culture add than culture fit. I think culture is something that comes from the people, and it's not something stable. It's not something that we can define that this is our culture. We actually have to think about it like when we add new people to the culture, does it change it? And which direction we want the culture to change. There's no extra layers, extra bureaucracy or extra steps in our company. We have a healthy business with the growing revenues and growing profit. And this is nice things to have for sure. Then also the pressure. I think everybody said to me when I started that I should basically take all the pressure away as a CEO, and that would be something that would be like my top priority to do. I don't really completely see it in that way. I think it's my responsibility to stop creating unnecessary pressure, but to keep the one that is needed. And not just any kind of pressure, but the kind that selects for the survival for the tomorrow's environment. We will need people around us who are the best at what they do, and they can solve the problems for us. Of course, there will be always the challenges, but we need to make sure we have right people for that environment, and who can actually solve those for me and for the whole team. It is more like, I would say, my responsibility to change our DNA, our culture, and the ways of operating in a way that keeps Fingersoft adaptable to change. Our goal is definitely to have our people experiencing tomorrow's environment today and prepare for the challenges. Of course, there's a number of barriers and problems that aren't relevant for our competitive environment, and therefore those won't help us to move forward, and I will of course help with those. So how do we figure out what tomorrow looks like? With the right mix of visionaries and growth-minded people, I believe we can do it. And actually identifying those end users that are clearly ahead of the curve and learning from them and listening to them and actually making the products for them. In Finnish, amoeba is actually called alkueläin, and that can be translated as a starter animal in English. For me, it says this is only the starting point for us, and with the right kind of environment and people, I actually believe that we can make it happen, and we can actually make this bigger even than it has been before. This is only the starting point for us, I believe. Thank you.
We have got time for a couple of questions. If anybody's got any questions about the evolution of a
Sure.
What do you see as your next change? What do you see as your next change or next step in your evolution then?
So definitely bringing new products in. So that's what we are working on at the moment, and we are actually really focusing on the early game development phases we have, and that's really a key thing for us now at the moment. And of course, building and seeing new markets for the Hill Climb Racing IP. So that's really exciting times.
Basically the same question.
Oh, that's good.
Cool.
Thank you.